Have you been depleted from something? It's not your confidence, made you feel much so good, and it constantly makes you worried or makes you feel anxious or a little bit down from thinking about it. Well, today I'm going to talk through this, and if you stay until the end, I have an extra special point for you then that I think is really going to help. Now, in my life, I've lost out on jobs, I've lost out on the girl, I've lost out on business, I've lost out on a lot of things, and it's not my confidence. Like any human being, when we have a setback, it knocks our confidence a bit. We don't feel as good, right? We're only human. And it can be hard, right? Really, really tough. Now, sometimes, what I start to observe and notice in my own life is there are some people who stay in those places a lot longer. They stay in the, this happened again, and what a setback, what a challenge. And this is really not great for me. I just don't feel great. And just stuck. And I've definitely been in a stage in my life when I was there, right? And then there's other people who seem to just get and bounce back really, really quickly, right? So why is that? I really wanted to talk about this today because I think in life, if we get so reliant on the external world, on everything outside of us going the right way for us to feel confident, well, that puts it at risk a lot. Now, it's not to say things are going to be joyful, happy, you're going to be full of confidence all the time. It's just we want you to be there in the majority of the case. And that's really what I wanted to share from what I've discovered, even particularly in the last year and a bit, when I've had some quite challenging times, being able to actually bounce back from things and what I've taken. And what it is that I've discovered is meaning, the meaning we put to things. And that impacts our emotions and therefore directs us. So the meaning you put to something and our emotions. Now, it's not to say if something seriously bad happens in your life, or if you lose something or someone, that you shouldn't feel bad and you should like just suppress it. No, that's unhealthy. What I'm talking about is like when challenges come up day to day, or perhaps setbacks, if you keep focusing on something's gone wrong and get stuck there, then it can stack up a lot of negative feeling and therefore negative action or inaction as a result. And this is a poem I got from my mentor, Joseph. He says, "As I think, so I feel. As I feel, so I do. As I do, so I have." And I heard it before, but when I started to really experience some of the challenges and bouncing back from them, I started to understand it on a different level. And the thing is, we're conditioned to just automatically think, feel, do, and have very quickly, or certainly think, feel, and do very quickly. So, for example, you see something or a bit of bad news or something triggers you, then like what you see, what you hear, and then you automatically feel bad. And that's called an anchor. When there's something we see or hear or feel, and well, see or hear or kind of smell, that can automatically create the feelings in our body and therefore dictates our actions. And how do you undress that? Well, or unpack that, you have to really start to become a little bit more conscious of it. Now, how's it helping you by perhaps having negative meanings to things and not even realizing you're doing so, and it's impacting your results and your confidence even more when you just got a lot of negative meaning? Because I've certainly been there many times. So I want to give you a little bit of guidance around this and a little bit of process now. Now, I'm going to say this is a little bit of a process, and you'll be like, "Oh, do I have to do this every morning?" It's up to you if you do or don't do, what I'm guiding in this, at least try it. The thing is, if you just listen to something and don't do anything, it's not going to, even if you just hear something, it's not going to change your life as long as you're acting on some kind of information. That's the important thing. What I would say about this, though, is even though maybe it's a little bit of process you do at first, you're probably going to waste more time by being drained by the negative emotions if you don't do this. And that's what I've certainly discovered. So let's go through it. First of all, just list any negative thoughts, any negative triggers you can think of. Maybe there's a certain thought that when you think about it, it makes you feel really down, really sad, or really anxious, really nervous, right? Just get that down on paper. Maybe you see a certain thing on social media, which, by the way, you're probably going to because there's lots of it out there. Or you hear a certain thing. When you talk to a certain person, they may raise a certain subject that makes you not feel so good. Write all these things down. Just brain dump it, get out of your head. Anything that's like a negative thought or trigger. And then ask yourself, let's do all these things. What does that mean to you? What meaning are you giving it? So, for example, someone says something that sounds like a slight criticism. The meaning you're giving is that person's attacking me, and therefore I'm not feeling good enough. That, just be honest with yourself. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Just be honest with yourself. You see something, and sometimes we're so unconscious of the thoughts we're going, and this is just going to help you become more conscious. And then ask yourself this third question: what else could it mean? And think of it in a positive. Now, obviously, there are cases when someone does something that's negative and it couldn't really mean anything more, rather than they're perhaps maybe not a nice human being. If they're consistently doing something bad, that might be the case. But you might also put to the meaning that you're not good enough because of the way they're acting. Is that really true? Or is that just the meaning somehow you've automatically attached to it? So really start to question, what is the meaning? Like, use your common sense on this, but I just want to say, just capture what meaning you're currently putting to something, get these negative things down, and then actually think about what could be an alternative negative meaning. And then repeatedly do this again and again and again. Do this for a week. Just keep looking back at some of those things, because the more you look at it, you'll start realizing, and then when it comes up day to day, you'll be like, okay, I'm thinking this, and therefore that's the meaning I'm putting, but the other meaning it could mean is this. And the more you become more conscious of that, the better, because the thoughts will become more conscious and it won't trigger off so many negative feelings, and it will reduce. So this is all about being conscious to the meaning of things. And if you keep going around unconscious and letting things going on autopilot mode that perhaps got negative meanings, well, it's just going to impact your results and your confidence as a result, because you're not going to do things. You're maybe going to behave or lash out in a certain way because of the meaning you're putting on things. So one bit of guidance, my extra point I really wanted to give to you today, is an easy way to do this is, because you can hear so many things, little bits of guidance. So I'm all about giving as simple things as possible. And this is one thing that really helps me, is just on my phone, I use Google Keep, or you can just use your notes function on your phone. Most people got a smartphone, so I'm kind of assuming you have, but maybe you haven't, no judgment or whatever. But just have something with you that you can take notes during the day. Write down on your phone, or even if it's a pad and paper, phone can be easier, just like, felt bad today when this thought came up, or felt bad when I heard this, or felt bad when I saw this. Just write it down. You don't have to do the whole process straight away. If you've got time to do it, I strongly recommend it. But at least each day, at the beginning of each day, just start reviewing some of the things that came up on the day before. Maybe it might like bring up some of those negative emotions a little bit from the day before when you'd got a bit more neutral, but they're going to come up again otherwise later. So actually becoming more and more conscious and actually being able to bring some of those feelings to the surface, it's going to allow you to work through them and recognize them for what they are, just the meaning you were putting to things. When you can put more positive meaning, you're going to behave much more different, feel more confident, and get better results as a result. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.